Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Lamar Jackson requesting a trade from the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens failed to secure a long-term deal with Lamar Jackson, as he was the one that wanted a fully guaranteed contract. However, the only quarterback that has a fully guaranteed contract right now in the NFL is Deshaun Watson. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. What is your reaction to Lamar Jackson's trade request? My reaction on Lamar Jackson requesting a trade from the Baltimore Ravens is that it was expected to happen. I told you guys that this would happen when Lamar Jackson got franchise tagged by the Baltimore Ravens. This is not surprising at all. Anybody that is surprised by Lamar Jackson requesting a trade from the Baltimore Ravens, I don't know what to tell you, because I saw this coming from a mile away. The Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson have been trying to negotiate a long-term contract for the last 2 years. They didn't get it done. Now you guys expect Lamar Jackson to just play on the franchise tag when he's a runner? No, of course he's not going to take it. Lamar Jackson is a running quarterback. He is a guy that takes a lot of hits. The way they're treating Lamar Jackson is disrespectful, because Lamar Jackson is a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. Does Lamar Jackson have his faults? Yes, but when Lamar Jackson plays on the football field, his teams win the game more often than not. If I told you guys that Lamar Jackson had a 45-16 win-loss record, you guys would probably be very surprised, but Lamar Jackson has won 45 out of 61 games that he has started in. That means Lamar Jackson has done a really good job in the regular season. I understand that in the postseason, he hasn't been a great player. He's only got one playoff victory. You look at former Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco. He wasn't the best quarterback in the regular season. Never even made a single Pro Bowl. But you know what Joe Flacco did in the postseason? He came up big for the Baltimore Ravens. And Lamar Jackson hasn't done that yet. But that shouldn't stop the Baltimore Ravens from paying up Lamar Jackson. And we've seen plenty of mid guys get contracts that they clearly didn't deserve. You look at Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has a losing record for basically his entire career outside of 1 year that he had in year 3. Apparently, that's good enough for the Arizona Cardinals to give him over $200 million in the contract. Luckily for them, not all of it is guaranteed, but a lot of it is. It's too much money that is guaranteed. When you look at Lamar Jackson, he wants a fully guaranteed contract because he's trying to use the basis to Deshaun Watson. He got a fully guaranteed contract, and he's saying, I'm better than Deshaun Watson. I won an MVP. I never potentially assaulted 26 different women. When you look at Lamar Jackson, he's got a clean record off the field. The worst thing you could say about Lamar Jackson is that he gets into too many Twitter spats, but that's really lame in the grand scheme of things. When you talk about Lamar Jackson, he's a former MVP player. He's a quarterback that has played at a top 10 level basically all his years in the NFL. He's been a transcendent talent, but this is nothing new for Lamar Jackson. He continues to get slept on. It's like the 2018 NFL draft. It's like when he was getting recruited out of high school. That's why Lamar Jackson was playing at Louisville. Lamar Jackson was playing at Louisville because all these teams were sleeping on him, and then he had to prove himself at Louisville, which he did. And then he went to the NFL, and you had people saying Lamar Jackson needs to play wide receiver. No, he doesn't. Lamar Jackson needs to be playing quarterback because he's really good at the quarterback position. It doesn't matter though. The Baltimore Ravens, they end up taking him with the 32nd pick. These GMs thought that 31 players were better than Lamar Jackson, which is obviously wrong if you do a redraft. This was the year that Baker Mayfield went number 1 overall, which to me was just insane to even think about. I understand that he played really good at Oklahoma, but I always knew that Baker Mayfield was never that good of a player. I thought the system of Lincoln Riley significantly carried him more often than not. When I looked at Baker Mayfield, I knew that guy was a bust right in those eyes. That was the same year Sam Darnold went number 3 overall. I'm like, how are these guys being taken over Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson is that good of a quarterback. He produced in college, he won the Heisman, and he's a transcendent talent. And you mean to tell me that this guy falls to the bottom of the first round? And here's the thing too with the Baltimore Ravens. They passed up on him the first time around. They had another first round pick that year in that draft class, and they selected Hayden Hurst. He's no longer on their roster, but this just tells you that the Baltimore Ravens valued the tight end in the first round over Lamar Jackson, which is just blatant disrespect to me if you ask my personal opinion. When you look at Lamar Jackson, he's an MVP caliber player that has shown that he can play football at a very high level. The only criticisms I have for Lamar Jackson are that he needs to be more of a pocket passer at times, and he needs to play better in the playoffs. But honestly, the Baltimore Ravens haven't done a good job helping him out in that department. You know why I say that? Because look at the weapons that Lamar Jackson has played with on the Baltimore Ravens. Who is the best wide receiver that Lamar Jackson has ever played with? Who is it? Who? Who? I'll tell you, it's Marquise Brown. Yes, you guys heard me correctly. He is more of a number 2 or number 3 kind of wide receiver. He's not a real number 1. That's the best receiver that Lamar Jackson has ever played with by far. His number 1 receiver last year was some guy named Deshaun Jackson, who used to be really good in Philadelphia many years ago, but we're talking about modern day Deshaun Jackson. Modern day Deshaun Jackson should be retired from the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens are just giving him scraps to work with at the wide receiver position, so of course he can't necessarily be a pocket passer. It's going to be hard to be a pocket passer when you don't really have any weapons to throw the ball to. Anyways, I know he's got Mark Andrews. He's a really good tight end, but he's not this future Hall of Famer tight end out there. He's not on that George Kittle, on that Travis Kelce level. He's not even on the Greg Olsen level back when Greg Olsen was in his prime. So when you look at it from that perspective, Lamar Jackson has been handcuffed offensively when you talk about supporting cast around him, because the Baltimore Ravens are too busy paying Roquan Smith $100 million over 5 years. I'm saying, what? How could the Baltimore Ravens do this? How? The Baltimore Ravens have not devoted the right resources to Lamar Jackson, so of course he's going to request a trade, and he shouldn't play on that franchise tag either. If I'm Lamar Jackson, I think he's going to pull this off. I think he's going to pull a Le'Veon Bell. I think he's going to say, you know what? Go ahead, try to franchise me. I ain't going to sign this, and I ain't going to play for y'all either. That's the approach that he's going to take, and I'm going to wait until a starting quarterback gets injured somewhere in the National Football League, and then I'm going to go ahead and get traded to that team. You look at the teams that are in impossible contention to get Lamar Jackson. You look at the Indianapolis Colts, you look at the New England Patriots, you look at the Tennessee Titans, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Washington Commanders, and the New York Jets. Right now, there's not really any teams that could use a Lamar Jackson right now, but if a team has a starter that goes down due to injury or their plans just don't work out with whoever they're trying to get, then maybe they could consider Lamar Jackson as an alternative. But honestly, this is just bad timing for Lamar Jackson, because I don't see any of these teams making a trade for Lamar Jackson. And if I was a general manager, I wouldn't make a trade for Lamar Jackson either. But that doesn't mean Lamar Jackson can't play in the National Football League. That just means it's not really convenient to get Lamar Jackson at that time. You are what your market says you are. We saw this game with Jimmy Garoppolo last year, right? Jimmy Garoppolo took his team to 2 NFC Championship games, and no one wanted him, and people wondered why. And it's because a lot of teams, quite frankly, didn't need him. And this is certainly the case with Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson is on the same level as Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not. Lamar Jackson is worlds better than Jimmy Garoppolo. But Lamar Jackson isn't necessarily this top 5 quarterback in the waiting rings. He's not MVP type of Aaron Rodgers out there. Lamar Jackson certainly has the deficit to deal with. You look at the New York Jets, they're putting all their eggs on the Aaron Rodgers trade happening for them. So I can't blame the New York Jets for not wanting Lamar Jackson. They're trying to make sure they secure the services of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers already said that he wants to go to the New York Jets. The Green Bay Packers, they have to get a deal done with the New York Jets, and in turn, that means the Baltimore Ravens can't deal with the Jets for Lamar Jackson. You look at the Washington Commanders, can't get that deal done because they already got Sam Howell in the building. Ron Rivera wants to develop Sam Howell, turn him into a Pro Bowl quarterback. I think he could absolutely do that. And then you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, they could definitely use a Lamar Jackson. Here's the problem though. Lamar Jackson wants a fully guaranteed contract, and the Bucs are cash poor right now. They don't have the money to pay Lamar Jackson that kind of money, so that rules out the Bucs. So then you look at the Titans. Okay, maybe the Titans might make a move because they're in the middle of nowhere basically in terms of the fact that their football team is mediocre. Ryan Tannehill seems to be regressing more so than ever. Derrick Henry's on the trading block, but if they get Lamar Jackson, they could possibly contend in the AFC South. But even so, the Titans are not a quarterback away from Super Bowl contention, so why go ahead and do that while you try to tear down the team and try to rebuild at a more efficient cost? So when you look at it from that perspective, you got to rule out the Titans. And then of course you've got the Colts, you got the Patriots, but if you're the Colts, why don't you just go ahead and draft a quarterback, since paying all these quarterbacks is not really a good way to build a good team around them, and they're not necessarily a quarterback away from Super Bowl contention. So the Indianapolis Colts shouldn't trade for Lamar Jackson. And then you got the New England Patriots. I could actually see this happening. Maybe the Patriots make a run for Lamar Jackson, but he doesn't seem to be a cultural fit for the New England Patriots. It's just the reality of the matter. So to be honest, what Lamar Jackson needs to do is he just needs to wait for his time and wait for a starting quarterback to get injured somewhere. If something like that happens, maybe he can get that trade to happen. But I do like that Lamar Jackson requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens, because at the end of the day, he needs to get his money's worth, and the Baltimore Ravens, they're obviously not going to give him that. If they didn't give him that the last 2 years, they're not going to give it now. That's my position on the Lamar Jackson situation. So that is why Lamar Jackson's trade request was expected, as I fully believed that would happen. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinTran and @SportsGuyTalking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.